Hear from those who are died in the wool politicians, who are just like the people in power. You see, the problem with the Nigerian political theater is that we have the same set of people who just move from one political family to the other. They know themselves. They are the same people. So some of them don't actually have the moral high ground to criticize those that are in power, because it's just a question of the music. It's like the game of musical chairs. Today you are here, the next day you are there. So when you have a situation where politicians are not driven by any fire of clearly spelled out ideology, then it's difficult to actually have a very strong opposition, because their voices are already compromised. You could be friends, but ideological enemies. And that's what makes for a healthy democratic culture. Unfortunately, Nigeria, it's a mishmash of sorts. People are they are just the same set of politicians moving either from APC to PDP today and from PDP to APC the next day. So what you find out that it is not really a question of what they want to do for Nigeria, but what they want to get out of the system that Nigeria has provided to them. You can see that the truth of that election has risen on its own. It's not hidden anymore. They know, and that's why they are worried when Peter Obi talks. Because they know that the entire arrangement that Mahmoud put out does not represent the will of the people expressed at the polls on the election day. So eventually, Peter Obi has evolved, as he indeed should, and now everybody is getting rattled. I've also noticed that Nigerian opposition politics is about just finding faults with the people in power. Now, there should be a balance. If you are an opposition figure, you find even greater moral authority if you are able to see some good things about the government in power and say some positive things about what they are doing. Because opposition figures should be able to also appraise, government policies critically, look at what is going on, not just the executive, but the judiciary and the legislative, assembly as well. Provide illumination, hold their feet to fire, and, provide enlightenment and a sort of spark of illumination for the rest of us. Unfortunately, the kind of leaders we have produced in the last 30 years or thereabouts in Nigeria are politicians who are just cutthroat politicians who do not even have time to prepare themselves adequately, to read the right literature, to prepare, and study, the modern principles of leadership and how they can be accountable to the people. We have seen people who are driven merely by their own greed and their obsessions with material wealth. And when you have that kind of scenario, the opposition will automatically lose its voice, because it will be struggling to even define its place in time. You understand what I'm saying? In time and space. The opposition has to be clear about what they want. If I'm an opposition figure, opposition figure in Enugu State, it doesn't stop me from looking at what Peter Mbai is doing right, and saying, well done. But then you made a promise that you will do this and do that, and you haven't done that. Opposition politics is the bedrock of democracy. You can't have a vibrant democracy without the voice of opposition, without opposition holding the government in power to account. That is the beauty of democracy. It doesn't matter whether one gets threatened in the process or not. We all know that some of these threats are just intended to size you up, to find out whether you're actually speaking with the courage of your conviction. Because they know that if anything should happen to Peter Obi, Nigeria will probably not be the same, so to speak. So we know that that's just, empty rhetoric coming from Felix Moka and others. You don't threaten an opposition figure for simply playing the role he's expected to play.
We're not taking it lightly because we know where we're coming from and we know the type of nation we are. But let me say this. Opposition leaders throughout Africa have always complained of threat to their lives. It didn't start today and not end today. Because even in America, you saw what happened during American presidency campaign, where Trump, the president-elect, was threatened twice, was almost killed twice, and then now the third one stopped it on the road. If you look at our history, I was in secondary school when Shagari was president of Nigeria, and that time it was hell was let loose in Nigeria against opposition parties. Jim Obodo cried. I was in class 4 by 1983. Jim Obodo cried. They took his position by force. At the Court of Appeal here, I was there. I came in as one of the school prefects to witness the Court of Appeal decision. When the thing was declared that he won Ondo, it was jubilation all along. And Ondo sat and blocked the judges from coming down. They give the judgment. That made me to go and read law. I said I would read law because I saw them in their regalia and impressed me. And you saw what happened when Ojukwu came back from Ivory Coast. His coming back was to join MPN. And the Ojukwu Vanguard, the Vanguard of Ojukwu, this thing met. At a point, it was mother of all mothers. And we had it. And some of us in secondary school got hint of that. We were threatened because we were campaigning for MPP that time. So it's not a new thing that, in fact, this particular president, Tinubu, was shouting that he was to be killed when he was in Action Alliance before they formed the opposition. So it's something that is a continuum in African nation, in the whole world. If you go to Bahamas, if you go to Asia, if you go to every opposition leader is either being threatened or is being killed and so on and so forth. So that is why the Labour Party is taking it serious that if anything happens to this man. So of course in the States are doing our own with panache. We're not trying to be aggressive as Peter Obi. But aggressive in terms of that he is saying the truth, the fact and the truth. Not being aggressive in terms of force. Peter Obi is saying what he has said is what is happening in Nigeria today. All of us are aware. Even the APC people are aware that things are not moving. But because of the way we behave, our character in terms of governance and so on, once you are being given that peanuts, you keep quiet, you complain at the backyard. So Peter Obi has taken the bull by the horn, and is saying it the way it is, but they don't want to hear it. They don't want that way. They don't want it that way. So we are warning. We are warning seriously. The Labour Party people are warning seriously that if anything happens to Peter Obi, in fact, the government of Tinubu should be held responsible. But we don't want anything to happen to him. So nobody should be held responsible. They should allow him to play because they took away his power. They took away his mandate. So they should not threaten him further. Let them go on and let this country have a kind of, let me say what we had in Jonathan, fresh air.